Hello and welcome to the Hacks to Knits channel. As you all know, I am an American living in Okinawa, Japan, and if you're from the States, then you know today's Thanksgiving. As the time differences go, it was actually Thanksgiving for me yesterday. We're a little ahead of time, and it is now early in the morning on Black Friday. I, of course, got up extra early so that I could call my family and wish them a happy Thanksgiving. It's just about dinner time in the States as I'm recording this now, so it was a very nice opportunity to get up and have a chat with my family. I actually worked yesterday. It's always sad to work on a holiday, but my area where I work was well taken care of. So we had just a handful of staff on work, and then all of the leadership came and brought us a giant turkey and all of the stuffing and gravy and green beans and fixings. And then, of course, we didn't know they were going to do that. So our own team had brought sort of a potluck meal also. So we had lots of chip and dip and dessert and pie and all of the goodies. So I had a very, at least, full belly. I brought all of those goodies home with me. So my husband got some good Thanksgiving food as well. We don't typically do very much. I'm working on my knitting while I'm talking to you here, so hopefully you guys don't mind me looking down a little bit and working on my project. We don't do giant holidays in my household. It's just, we don't have children in our household, and we found over the years that it just sort of added stress to our life, feeling this pressure to decorate and buy turkeys and cook and all of those things, when what we really wanted to do on our days off work was just to relax and be together. And so you don't tend to see on this channel a lot of Christmas decorations or holiday decorations or things like that. And that's okay. That's how we choose to live our life and have our family. We celebrate our own holidays, events that are special to us in our own way. So, of course, today, what am I wearing? I've got on the Nightbook sweater. This is by Rachel Ilsley, and it's one of my favorite pieces of knitwear. Here in Okinawa, it has finally cooled down. It is nice. We have all of the windows open, and it's nice and cold. And by nice and cold, I mean 65 Fahrenheit. So it's been beautiful outside, just in time to sort of feel like I'm in the holiday spirit. I am wearing my knitting. Of course, it's short sleeve knitting, but still getting to wear all of my knitwear. I have been doing a little bit of Black Friday shopping, just a little bit. It's funny, I actually jumped the gun on Black Friday sales and bought some things, and then went back to the same shop and bought their Black Friday deal. So I've got some yarny splurges coming my way, and I'll tell you about it. No paid promotions here. This is just me talking about the yarns I love, but I am obsessed with the shop, The Woolly Thistle. I'm sure, come on, you guys, I feel like I'm always the last to get to these shops, so maybe some of you out here don't already know about this shop, but the Woolly Thistle it's a YouTube channel also, and the owner of the shop was originally from Scotland and then came to the United States, and their shop features all of the British breeds. So you get a lot of goodies and a lot of different breeds of sheep that you might not normally see in the US. And they carry a lot of brands that I have heard of, but have never had the opportunity to touch. Oh, my cat just brought me a toy. The names that come to mind right now are none of the British breeds. I'm thinking of the Letlopi, but they carry the Blacker yarn and Kate Davies and John Arbin and Rauma and Marie Wallen and all of the other yarns that I hear about again and again and again, but I never actually get the chance to touch and hold. And so I was really excited when they mentioned that they're going to be selling selection boxes for Black Friday. And selection boxes are boxes, I don't actually know the origin of selection boxes, but as the shop owner tells in her podcast, in where she grew up, selection boxes were boxes of full-size chocolates that they would get at Christmas time. And this is a selection box, but of yarn. And so she's got various samples of yarn, and I saw those boxes and I was like, oh man, I really, really want these. And it was so funny because in the past week I've been like checking in on the website, checking in, even though I knew they weren't going to release them until Black Friday. I was still checking in, and I was so excited about it that I just decided to create my own. So the boxes come with lots and lots of yarn. You'll have to go over and check out her website, which I'll put in here. But some of the yarns that I was excited about was the Wallen British Breeds and the Rauma. She had it paired, like the Finullgarn with Plum, which is their like fuzzy, I don't know if it's alpaca or mohair or what, had those paired together. And that's something I've been wanting to do, is actually, kind of hop on board of this trend of holding the fuzzy yarn together with the main yarn. I actually have a little bit of the Japanese yarn Ito in my stash, waiting for me to figure out what to do with it. And please excuse any noises you're hearing. It is, in fact, my cat Stoli, just, skittering around, pushing a toy around the floor while I'm talking here. She really wants me to pick it up and play. Let's see what we can do here. Stoli. Yeah. Okay. So my cat Stoli, the only toy she will play with is this. Do you know what this is? It's the piece of a pizza box. And that's it. That's the only toy she'll play with. Nothing else will do. Everything else she just kind of snubs her nose and turns her nose up at. So, shopping. That is what I've been doing. What did I purchase? I purchased 4 skeins of the Wallen British Breeds. And the selection boxes came with 4. They came with the Rauma. They came with Jägerspun and Daughter of a Farmer and a bunch of other things. The smaller box came with buttons and project bag. The larger box came with buttons and a project bag and like these woven tea towels from a Scottish mill and all these other goodies. And I said, I can live without all those other goodies, but I want my yarn now. So I went out and I picked some of those yarns. I bought the 4 skeins of the Wallen and the 2 skeins of the Rauma. And also because the boxes, you don't get to pick your colors. They're kind of, they coordinate the boxes, but you get what you get. So I went ahead and just bought what I wanted. And then this morning I got on just to look at the Black Friday sale, even though I had literally just finished purchasing the thing that I thought I wanted. And wouldn't you know, I just bought some more stuff. So I bought a kit for a cardigan. I have been really thinking about knitting a cardigan for a while now. I don't have any. I can't think of the last cardigan I knit. I can't think of the last time I knit a button. I think the last buttonhole I knit were the ones I had to do for the Master Knitter program. And so I bought the kit. I'm going to pull it up on the computer here while I talk to you. It is also knit in the Rauma Plum, which is, it says 50 balls of, no, this isn't the Plum. This is the Alpakka lin in the blue jeans colorway. And I'm knitting Lily's Everyday Jacket Cardigan Kit, which, I don't want to even attempt to pronounce, so I will put that into the down bar or link in the name of the pattern, because the actual name of the pattern is not in English. So I bought that and some of their really cute buttons, and so I'm really excited. If you guys are watching this and you guys know of some Black Friday sales going on, you just go ahead and put those in the comments, because I will be watching and shopping from home. I'm, almost a day ahead of time here, so I have extra hours to prepare myself for Black Friday shopping. But definitely yarn is in my budget for Christmas. I told my husband I went ahead and just bought myself some Black Friday Christmas goodies, and he says, okay, how much did you spend? And the first package, I think I'd spent about $80, and he's like, oh gosh, that's nothing, that's fine. And then of course now I had his blessing, so I went back and bought some more. So that is what is going on in my life. Let me tell you about what I'm knitting on today. let me just tell you about what's on my needles today, because I have a new cast on. I feel like every holiday season really needs a new cast on of something that you really love and enjoy. And this is what I'm working on. So just a small amount of project. This is fingering weight, so it's actually felt like hours and hours and hours of work. But this is, oh gosh, it's hard to show you things. This is Kaitlin Hunter's Nordiska sweater. I guess you could call it a sweater. It's sort of a cropped pullover with a V-neck, and it's very plain and simple. Your shaping has a lovely, lovely, lovely little cable detail, and then at the bottom you get color work. I think you guys know me by now, like color work is my jam, it's what I do, and I think any sweater where you're not doing some color work would be a challenge for me to complete, because I think I would get bored a little bit. But this has been on my needles for a couple of days now, and I am truly enjoying working on it. It's actually really funny. So here in Okinawa, they have lifted some of the restrictions, and you can now, go out and have a few drinks. And I had one of those rare days where I was off work. I wasn't on call. My husband was off work. I was awake and feeling good, and I said, all right, let's do it. Let's have a couple of drinks. So we had a few, and I had decided I was going to go and buy the yarn to cast on this project. And my husband says, or you could dip into that giant stash of yarn behind you. And I was determined to prove him wrong, that there was no way I had the yarn in my stash to get this done. And I stubbornly walked back to my stash and started pulling out all of the balls of yarn that were the correct weight. And wouldn't you know, I had this stuff in my stash. So I have cast this on completely out of stash yarn. The main colorway of this is the, oh my gosh, Mominoki Fin Wool. So this yarn is dyed in Germany, and I received this as part of the Amirisu Yarn Club last year. And then when I was in Tokyo and visiting the walnut, blah blah blah, when I was in Tokyo and visiting the walnut shop, I picked up a few more skeins of this so that I would have enough to make a project, and here I am. I'm actually a little bit surprised about the yarn. I thought that it would be a woolen spun yarn. I don't know why I thought that. Just when I grabbed it, it's kind of fuzzy and floofy. So I was expecting something like Loft, like Brooklyn Tweed Loft or Juniper Moon's Patagonia. And I think mostly because I had knit a sweater previously out of Patagonia. I did the Weekender sweater by Andrea Mowry, and it was exactly this color. I think it was called Cinnamon too, like exactly this color. And this is not. This is a woolen spun yarn. It's a 2-ply fingering weight, and it feels like a true fingering weight, or even maybe a little bit light fingering weight. It's a very thin yarn, and it's fuzzy. It's just, I think the fin wool has some fuzz to it. So I've been enjoying working on this a lot. It's funny, you can see some issues here. So let's see if you can spot this. So can you see that up here is kind of like really nice even tension, and then here it gets a little bit wonky and weird. So what happened there was I took the sweater with me to one of my favorite coffee shops, and it was raining that day, and I was sitting on their outdoor patio because I'm still trying to do as much COVID prevention measures as possible. So I was sitting outside, and it is a covered patio, but the humidity, this yarn was just sticking to me, sticking to my hands as I was knitting, and really like messed up my tension a lot. And you can just see it. You can see the difference up here, knitting at home in a nice dry environment, and here, the big chunk that I did. Let's see, can you see it? Can you see? I think you can see. And it's just funny. I'm not worried about it. It'll block. It'll be fine. It's not going to bother me either way. It's not going to bother me enough to rip it all out and do it again. That's for sure. So I've been excited to work on that. The main color is, of course, cinnamon, and then my contrast color, I have the same Mominoki yarn, but this is Shadow, and it is really lovely. Just very, very slightly tonal. It's not a solid. It's got some shading in there, and it's beautiful. And then I was kind of in a pinch for the third contrast color, so I pulled all of the yarns out and held them up and asked my husband to pick one that he thought would go really well for the contrast color. And for that, I have a little leftover ball. This is North Light Fibers Water Street DK, and it is 60% merino wool, 40% cashmere. Oof, I love cashmere. I would knit with this particular yarn every day, all day, if I could afford to do so. I'm a little bit nervous because it is a DK weight versus a fingering weight, so it's already a thicker gauge, and it's got that cashmere that's just gonna fluff, which is gonna make it, after I block it, look even bigger than the gauge it is. I have a few other backup options in my stash. I've got a little bit of sock yarn, but this yarn is so like rustic and fluffy. It's definitely not super wash. So to put a sock yarn in didn't feel right. I've got some alpaca, 100% alpaca I bought. I was traveling in California and was just about to enter Yosemite, and I stopped in a very small town. And there was a shop there that was selling alpaca goods and alpaca yarn made from this family's flock of alpacas. Is an alpaca group, is it a flock? Is it a herd? What's the proper word for a gathering of alpacas? If you know, put it in the comments. I want to know too. So yeah, options. I have options, but what I think I'm going to do is just start knitting with this. The pattern calls for a very small amount of the third contrast color. So if I hate it, I'll just pull it out and do it again in a different color, in a different yarn. And if I love it, well, then I did good and I didn't have to buy any yarn to get this project done. As it is when you have a new cast on that you're really excited about, a lot of your whips go into hibernation. So that's kind of what's been happening this week. I do still have my Argil sweater, tank top on the needles. I suddenly realized that I just stopped halfway on the top of this. So this is actually the back of the sweater, but it looks like a very reasonable neckline, right? And then when I got to the front, and I'm all tangled, so you'll forgive me, it suddenly was looking like more like a bikini top than an actual top to a sweater, and I was very confused about it. And I thought I had finished the front and moved on to the next step, and I had moved on to the next step, but I had not finished all the front instructions. So I do have a little bit more knitting to do on the front of this, and I moved myself on to this section here, and I talked a lot about this in my previous episode, so if you're a little bit confused about what you're looking at, you can go back to the previous episodes and I'll talk a little bit more about the layout of this particular project. But this is knit in a Japanese yarn. This is UV cotton, which I purchased at sort of a local craft big box store called Pandora House. And that is everything that I've been working on. I'm so excited to have this project on the needles. I have all of the winter cast on itis. Like I want to cast on all of the sweaters and woolen socks and hats, and I have no need for them here. So I'm still kind of working out some contract details on where I'm going to be going next, and hopefully I will know soon. And I'm hoping for a cold weather climate, but I've sort of narrowed my options down to two places, and one of them is very hot and one of them is nice and cold, and we'll see how the Wheel of Time turns. I've been watching the Wheel of Time series that just released on Amazon. If you are a fan of that book series, I'd be interested to hear what you think of that series. If you guys don't know, Wheel of Time is a very, very long book series. What is it, 14 books total, written by Robert Jordan and finished by another author. And they have just recently put out a TV show on it, and I'm a little bit split. I'm enjoying the show for the fact that it's a TV show and it's allowed to take license away from the book, but then also, like, the book nerd in me is like, that's not how it went. What? Why are you telling us now? That's going to ruin the story arc. Like, all of these sort of nerdy things. So that is what's going on in the Haxtonit's house. I'm going to let you guys go so you can get on to all of your Black Friday knitting. If you're not an American celebrating Thanksgiving today, you can still take advantage of all of the Black Friday shopping that's about to happen. And I'm sure there will be discounts at all of the great stores, and I look forward to seeing all of the purchases that you guys make and sharing the purchases that I make in my coming episodes. All right, guys, I'll see you next week.